Hi, it's Alicia from the Pretty Brown Eyed Reader. I am coming today with my January wrap-up. January has been a very busy month and a great reading month, so I would like to share what I've read with you. The first book I read was Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. I did a review on this book and I will link it below so you can check it out. It is a great book looking at Trevor's life growing up in South Africa, and I really enjoyed it and have enjoyed comments from others about their experience while reading Born a Crime. So please check out that review. The next book I read was my book club selection for the month of January, and it's called Driving the King, and it's by Ravi Howard. This is a fictional book that tells the story of one of Nat King Cole's drivers. The driver actually knew him from the neighborhood when they grew up together, and through a lot of different mishaps becomes Nat King Cole's driver. This is a historical fiction novel, so it's based off of real life events, but it's not the actual events that happened during Nat King Cole's life. During my book club meeting, we had a very interesting discussion about historical fiction. One of the club members brought up the point that how can someone know about Nat King Cole by reading this book? Because a lot of the facts were off, but it was a great story, but it wasn't the actual thing that happened to Nat King Cole. And so another book club member said, well, if you're trying to learn about Nat King Cole, you're in the wrong part of the library because this is a fiction book. And so we all laughed, but it did bring up a serious discussion of how much of historical fiction should you believe in. But anyway, so check out Driving the King by Ravi Howard. So the next book I picked up is a new release by Kathy Griffin, and it's called Celebrity Run-Ins. Now I love me some Kathy Griffin because it's just crazy, and I love Life on the D-List, her show, and I can watch her specials whenever they come on. But this book wore me out, and it was too much to read from front to back. The reason being is she catalogs all the different celebrities that she's had run-ins with, and some of the run-ins are funny, some of them are touching, but trying to read them from cover to cover was just too much. It wore me out. So finally I realized after a week or so that I just need to read a couple every day, and that's how I was able to get through the book, because trying to read it all the way through, it was just too much. If you know anything about her comedy, she's just very in your face, and you're like, whoa, Kathy, you know that didn't happen. Or, you know, you're laughing and you're like, well, and so all of that just, it can wear you out if you try to read it from front to back. So if you enjoy Kathy Griffin's comedy, you will enjoy this book, but I would suggest taking your time reading it, not trying to read it from cover to cover. So after I got into finally a groove with Kathy's book, it was time for Diversathon. And so during Diversathon, I initially only had 2 books picked out, and one was a book of poetry, and that is The Wild Hundreds by Nate Marshall. Now I heard about this book on Deirdre's channel, Someday Say So, if I said that right, and she did a review of this book of poetry. Mr. Marshall is a poet from the south side of Chicago, and he writes some great poems that capture the essence of what it's like to be a black male growing up on the south side of Chicago. And he's won a lot of awards for it, and I just love the cover. The cover is just awesome to me. It's a beautiful painting. And so that was my first read for Diversathon. My second read for Diversathon was Confused Spice by Mathis Bailey. Mathis is a YouTuber and author, and this is his debut novel. You may have seen it on other people's channel, but I have a very interesting story about this book. Mathis originally sent it to me to review, but I never got a copy. Now, I never received the copy that he sent. With some kind of mishap with the family post office box, I didn't get the package. So I felt really bad about it, so I ordered it, and I finally got a chance to read it because it was perfect for Diversifying. It tells the story of a gay man that moves to Canada to be with his fiance, and his fiance cheats on him with a female. And so in the course, he meets another guy who happens to be Indian, and so hence the title Confused Spice, because it's really spicy love kind of connections going on in the book. And since it's told from the perspective of a gay man, I felt like it was good to read during Diversifying. If you haven't read Confused Spice by Mathis Bailey, please check it out. It is a great debut novel, and I'm hoping to do a more in-depth discussion of the book soon. Okay, and the last book that I read for January and Diversifying is a middle grade book called George, and it's by Alex Gino. And this tells the story of a transgender child who is seen as a male but really identifies as female. And it's middle grade, so it was easy to read, but at the same time, the author, Alex, who identifies as trans queer, captured I feel like the essence of what it must be like to be a trans child. And the child in the book, George, she is anatomically male but doesn't identify with what she was born as, and she wants to play Charlotte in the school play Charlotte's Web. And of course the teachers say no because it's for a girl, not for a guy, and she doesn't identify as a guy, she identifies as a girl. So one thing about the book is that the use of pronouns was confusing to me, but I have to remember, if you're born with a gender that you don't identify, that can be confusing. So I felt like the way Alex uses gender in the book helps you to be able to see the mind of a child that's going through trying to get their identity, the correct identity, get to the identity that they feel that they are. So it was a very eye-opening book, even though it was middle grade. It's very easy to read, didn't take long. I actually saw this on Alice and Teresa's channel. She was talking about it recently. So these are my reads for January. Did you participate in Diversifying? What did you read for January? I hope everyone had a great reading month. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.